Today, we're going to share a strange tale provided by Ben. The story originates from one of Ben's colleagues. This colleague once knew a videographer named Liu. Liu works for a program at CCTV. He's from Xi'an and lives alone in Beijing, renting a place near Gongshufen and commuting to work by car every day. Liu's girlfriend, named Liu, is from Changsha, Hunan. She graduated in 2009 and started working at a company in Beijing. The two don't live together. Liu shares an apartment with another female colleague in a different neighborhood. They met through an introduction and have been dating for about 2 years now, with a very stable relationship. During the 2013 Spring Festival, Liu accompanied his girlfriend Liu back to her hometown in Changsha, Hunan to meet her parents, who were very pleased with Liu. After returning from the holiday, the couple planned to visit Liu's family in Xi'an during the May Day and introduce Liu to his parents. They intended to get married and move in together before 2014. Everything seemed to be going well according to their plan. After the Spring Festival, they returned to Beijing and resumed their busy work schedules. As a videographer, Liu often travels for work. Liu also works hard, and both young people hope to save as much money as possible before getting married. Liu's colleagues were aware of her plans to visit her boyfriend's family and were very happy for her. Not long after returning from the Spring Festival, Liu's company had a project in Shenzhen that required a 5-day business trip. Her leader assigned her to go, as the task wasn't too strenuous and was more of a mix of work and leisure. Liu told her boyfriend Liu about it, and he thought it was a good opportunity. However, neither of them could have anticipated the strange and tragic events that would unfold during Liu's trip. The day before the trip, Liu drove his girlfriend back to her place and left his car with her, taking a taxi back to his own home. Liu's flight was scheduled for 9:30 a.m. the next morning. She needed time to get ready, including doing her makeup and dressing up. So she packed her things the night before and set her alarm for 5 a.m. She also informed her roommate that she would be leaving early for the airport and might make some noise. Her roommate said it was fine and that she would sleep in, so they wouldn't disturb each other. After finishing packing early, Liu lay down to sleep, but she couldn't sleep soundly. She tossed and turned, feeling restless and anxious. After a while, she finally dozed off. In her dream, she found herself standing in a very quiet room, feeling disoriented. Her head was covered with a cloth, and she could only see her feet. Looking down, she was startled to see that she was wearing a large white flower and white paper clothes. Liu was terrified and quickly removed the cloth from her head. The room was dimly lit, but she could make out the surroundings. Next to her stood a young man in his 20s, dressed in red from head to toe, with a blank expression and pale face. Liu was horrified. Where was she? In front of them were some traditional Chinese furniture pieces. Looking to the side, she saw two coffins placed side by side at the entrance of the room. She screamed and tried to remove the white flower and paper clothes while running towards the door. As she fled past the coffins, she burst out of the room. Once outside, she found herself in a vast wasteland. It was already dark, and she couldn't tell which direction she was facing. She had no idea where she was. Suddenly, she heard a noise behind her and turned around to see. The man who had been standing next to her was chasing her. But he wasn't running. He seemed to float towards her like a kite. Liu was so scared that she ran a few steps, only to trip and fall, landing on her bottom. She kicked her legs frantically, covered her face with one arm, and used the other hand to prop herself up on the ground. Just as the man was about to pounce on her, Liu felt her legs kick fiercely, and she let out a scream. She woke up, drenched in cold sweat, her heart pounding. After catching her breath for a while, she thought to herself, "What a terrible nightmare I had." But then she noticed that it was already getting light outside. She glanced at her phone and saw that it was past 7 in the morning. Liu was startled and quickly sat up. What's going on? She thought. She had set her alarm for 5 in the morning, but it hadn't gone off. She checked her phone again and realized that she had mistakenly set the alarm for 5 in the afternoon. Looking at the current time on her phone, she saw that her boyfriend Liu had sent her a message asking if she had left for the airport yet. Liu was in a panic. She didn't have time to reply or think about the nightmare. She quickly got up and washed up. Her roommate, who had also woken up, was surprised to see that Liu hadn't left yet. "Aren't you flying out this morning?" she asked. Liu replied, "I set my alarm wrong. I don't have time." She hastily changed her clothes, washed up, and without even having time to put on makeup, she rushed downstairs with her luggage, got into her boyfriend's car, and headed towards Capital International Airport. It was already 7:40 a.m. Liu knew that the morning rush hour in Beijing could be brutal, so she was particularly anxious. Fortunately, the traffic wasn't bad that day. While waiting at a traffic light, Liu cut in line. She drove forward for a bit and then noticed something odd. The car in front of her had its hazard lights on, and there was a yellow wreath-like object on the back of the car. She was taken aback and then looked in the rearview mirror to see that the car behind her also had its hazard lights on, and a similar yellow object on the front of the car. Liu felt a chill run down her spine. Oh no, did I just get caught in a funeral procession this early in the morning? She thought. She cursed her bad luck. At that moment, her only thought was that she couldn't follow the car in front of her. She quickly changed lanes and saw that several cars behind her, about 4 or 5 in total, all had their hazard lights on. It was indeed a funeral procession, but she was in a hurry and couldn't afford to think about it. After avoiding the procession, the rest of her journey went smoothly. Once on the highway, she drove as fast as she could and made it to the airport in half an hour. She quickly parked the car, checked in her luggage, and managed to get through the procedures just in time. With over 20 minutes to spare before the flight took off, she finally had a moment to catch her breath and call her boyfriend, Liu, to let him know she was safe. On the phone, she vented about the nightmare she had the night before, how she overslept and set her alarm wrong, and the strange encounters she had while driving. She complained to Liu, "I'm flying and I had this dream. Isn't that bad luck? I even dreamed about coffins and funeral cars." Liu tried to reassure her, saying, "Come on, don't overthink it. You've just been working too hard lately. This trip isn't that strenuous. It's half work, half play. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. Besides, as the saying goes, dreaming about a coffin means you're going to get a promotion or get rich. Just be careful and get some rest on the plane. Let me know when you land." Liu wasn't the type to dwell on things. After her boyfriend's reassurances, she decided not to worry about it. She turned off her phone and took a nap. After a few hours of flying, the plane landed safely at its destination. As soon as she got off the plane, Liu turned on her phone and called her boyfriend to let him know she had arrived in Shenzhen. The driver sent by the company to pick her up had already contacted her. She got into the car, and the driver took her to the hotel. This hotel in Shenzhen was considered a high-end establishment. When she arrived, it was almost 3 in the afternoon. Liu checked and was given a room on the 2nd floor. The driver, who had been very helpful, carried her luggage and escorted her to the room. However, when Liu tried to use her room card to open the door, it wouldn't budge. After several attempts, she had no choice but to call a staff member for assistance. The staff member tried Liu's car a few times without success, but eventually managed to open the door with the hotel management card. The staff member then said, "I'll go to the front desk and reprogram your room card for you." At that moment, Liu felt quite uneasy. The driver who was standing nearby advised her, "If that's the case, you better not stay in this room." Lou and the driver went down to the lobby, where the staff reissued a new card for her. However, Lou decided not to take it and instead asked the hotel staff, "Can you please change my room? I don't want to stay in this one." The hotel staff were in a difficult position and explained, "All our rooms are fully booked. The only room available now is on the 4th floor, and it's a double bedroom. But that room is usually kept as a spare." Lou replied, "It doesn't matter. I'll take that double bedroom. I don't want to stay in the previous one." Her schedule was tight, and after the morning's rush and the nightmare, she was exhausted from the stress and lack of sleep. The driver was waiting for her in the hotel lobby. After the hotel staff opened the new room for her, Lou quickly put her things down and prepared to head to the client's location for an event. This time, when she swiped her card at the door, she was able to enter the room without any issues. Upon entering, Lou noticed that the room was indeed quite spacious. To her left, as she entered, was a wardrobe. The room was laid out with the wardrobe first, followed by a large bed. At the foot of the bed hung a portrait of a man in a black suit with a blank expression. The portrait was hung quite low. On either side of the bed were bedside tables with lamps and outlets. Near the windows were two sofa chairs, and opposite them was a TV cabinet with a television. When Lou first entered the room, she noticed that the windows were open. She closed them and put her luggage down.